Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Freedom Warrior Show. We're glad to have you tonight. And we want to thank our host, Mr. 411, as he allowed us to show here uh, on the 411 Sports Network. And we want to thank Mr. 411 for hosting us. And tonight we have a special guest with us, and maybe one other special guest that might show up a little later. But tonight we have Cheryl Fody that's with us tonight. Cheryl, you want to say hello?
Hi. This is so much
Okay.
fun, Tyrone. So much fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to go ahead and get the show on the road. We apologize a little bit for the lateness, but we had a few technical difficulties, but we overcome that
A
very
few.
Right.
simply and very easily. Thanks, Mr. 411, our producer. We want you to make sure now that you subscribe, okay, to this channel and to this show. And we also would like for you to hit that like button at any time, ring that bell. And of course, as usual, we want you to be respectful because, we do have um, other people who come on the show, people who are watching, people who comment. So we want to just be respectful all the way across the board to each and every person who's watching the show and who may even participate in the show. Now,
Isn't that isn't that called the Jimmy pulling a Jimmy Kimmel these days?
yeah, sort of, kind of. Yeah, we want to make sure that we keep it
Sorry.
clean and keep it respectful. And that brings us to mentioning Mr. Kimball's name. That brings us to this debate now that's going on and has been going on in the country for quite a while, and that is about First Amendment rights. Now, I'm understanding that there are people who are siding with Mr. Kimball on the fact that his First Amendment rights were violated. But, this takes me back to a person whom we lost just recently to a very horrible and violent experience, and that is Mr. Charlie Kirk. And when we talk First Amendment, Charlie Kirk was a big advocate for the First Amendment. A lot of people didn't agree with him, but you know what? He was telling them in so many ways that that was their right to disagree.
Hmm.
And then it was his opportunity to tell them what his opinions were on certain issues. Am I right about that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
so now the big debate now from the left is that, well, Jimmy Kimball's First Amendment rights were violated. Do you think that was the case?
I don't.
Mhm.
Um, I know a lot of people do, and the First Amendment, when you're talking about that, basically you should be talking about the truth. And he was
Mhm.
not saying the truth, and he was making fun of it, and it was just absurd um, and horrendous. I
Mhm.
could see why ABC was upset. But
Mhm.
I've been in broadcast industry for, I always say 35 plus years. It's over 40. I'm just in denial. And when you've got a situation like this and he is really low, his ratings are low, which means they are not bringing in the money that they should be bringing in as far as the
Mhm.
sponsors and all that. But it just doesn't go. He's on ABC Network. Below that are the companies that you've heard of, Sinclair, and then also, was it
Next
Next?
stop.
Next. Okay.
I think it's called
And
Next Stop.
okay, those companies actually own state. They run the ABC programming, but then they also have the local news, just like WSB
Mhm.
does here.
Yeah, they're
So
called
when you're,
affiliates. They're called them
yes, they are
affiliates or
called
something.
affiliates. Very good.
Right.
I didn't have to even give you a test. Um,
Thank you.
that's all right. So when the affiliates, when they've got a lot of affiliates, what both these companies do, and they get angry at him for what he said, that's when they
Mhm.
said, we're not going to run him anymore. And I don't even know if he's running on any of their stations right now. He went back on last night on ABC Network, but not all of the stations.
Yeah,
So
he made a tearful effort there when he came back to say, basically, by not saying I'm sorry, but showing a little glimmer of emotion, that
I didn't
he
believe
felt,
any of it. I did not
well,
believe any of it. Sorry.
well, he returned to a standing ovation, of course. But look, let's take a look at what is the First Amendment. Some people, throw it around. Oh, the First Amendment. Oh, the Second Amendment. But they don't really know what it really says in the Bill of Rights. So, Mr. 411, let's look at First Amendment. What does it say? Okay. I don't have my glasses on, Mr. 411, and I sure can't see it. But
That's for the
anyway,
Federal Communications Commission.
yeah, I am. I'm looking for the.
There's your Bill of
Yeah,
Rights.
yeah, there it is, right there. And if you would, if those of you who could see it, know that it protects what freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom to assemble. Uh, yeah, there we go. Thank you, Mr. 411. I appreciate that. So, these OIs aren't like they used to be. But anyway, yeah, and allows people to have freedom of assembly, to freedom to petition their government when they have
Mhm.
grievances. So, I mean, that's First Amendment, right? But some people think that the First Amendment is an opportunity to threaten violence. And they say, oh, that's my First Amendment right. I could threaten people, or I could yell fire in a crowded room when there is no fire, just to create some type of civil disturbance.
Right.
And that's not freedom of speech. Okay. And as a matter of speaking, that's just creating chaos and also promoting violence that could be harmful to the general public. So some people conflate that I can say whatever I want, no matter how extreme, because I'm protected by the First Amendment. And in essence, like you said, Cheryl, Mr. Kimball was passing information through a public platform to maybe thousands, even I don't know if he has millions of viewers, but he was telling them information that wasn't true. And he
Yes.
knew it wasn't true because he doesn't work for the FBI, he doesn't work for the CIA, he doesn't work for law enforcement, who all these agencies did an in-depth investigation as to who this shooter was and what he represented. But this
Right.
man came on this show and said, oh, he was a part of the MAGA gang. That was a lie. And he passed that on to the general public. And I think in that point in time, maybe you agree with me, and I'm hoping you do, that his First Amendment rights at that moment in time, he was not protected under that, under the
No.
First Amendment.
Not for lying. I mean,
Right.
and to say that, first of all, he goes after Trump as much as he can, which gets
Hmm.
annoying. I don't watch him at all because I just don't think he's funny. And
Hmm.
when you go after the president constantly, and that's really a good part of the country that like this man,
Uh-huh.
because they voted for him, then you're also diminishing your ratings because you're losing people. You're
Hmm.
losing people that are like, I'm not going to listen to this guy. So that was a problem. Now, if you think about it, Johnny Carson, some people may remember Johnny Carson, some people may not, but Johnny
Well, I
Carson,
go all the way back to Steve Allen, so that tells
oh,
you
there
how old
you
I am.
go. I know, and I started Johnny Carson. So Johnny Carson was interviewed once, and he just said he will not use his NBC platform to talk about politics. He does a joke out of every so often in his monologue, but he will
Uh-huh.
never use it as a platform to talk about his feelings on politics. He said it's dangerous, and I think
Hmm.
that's what Jimmy Kimmel did this past week.
Yes.
So
Now, let's see. Now, there are many people who are saying that the commissioner of the FCC and the Trump administration forced him off the air.
no,
Which, Mr. 411, do we have anything on the Commissioner Carr, what he had to say about this removal of Mr. Kimmel? I think we had a video, a clip, wherein Mr. Carr was defending his position. And let's see. Of course, Mr. 411, do you have the
No, the ratings have
FCC?
come down across the board
Oh, here we
as a
go. Thank
result
you.
of course, people just don't watch nearly like they did. I mean, I can go back, and so can my colleagues, to remembering, though, the times of Johnny Carson. Now, again, to that point, Chairman, I mean, the administration in power was typically the subject of most of his jokes, as would seem to be the case now. I mean, these are comedians we're talking about. This is not the news.
Well, look, I can tell you, Jimmy Kimmel is no Johnny Carson. And the issue that arose here, where lots and lots of people were upset, was not a joke. It was not, making fun or pillaring me or the administration or the president. It was appearing to directly mislead the American public about a significant fact of probably one of the most significant political events we've had in a long time. Certainly the most significant political assassination we've seen in a long time. And so I think
Thank you,
categorically
Mr.
different.
411. Mr. 411, thank you.
And I certainly defer to the decision making of the company itself in terms of saying this was beyond the bounds. But
Thank you, Mr. 411, for that. If we can get back on camera. Yes, did you hear what he had to say there? Ms.
I
Cody?
did. Yeah.
Yeah. And he also made it very clear to this commentator that Jimmy Kimmel was no Johnny Carson,
Right.
which I thought
Now-
was very interesting.
Now, if you think about it, though, it wasn't the FCC that pulled him off.
Right.
It was the two major broadcasting companies that said,
Mhm.
we're done. We're not making
Yes.
money on this guy. And now he's doing all this nonsense, for a man who was
Mhm.
shot, who had
Yeah.
children and, everything else. So
Mhm.
I think the best thing for him to do is be off the air. But it was definitely Disney and being
Mhm.
threatened by these broadcasting companies. And that's
Yeah.
why they pulled him.
Well,
But
the
to
one
pull-
thing that you brought to light that I do agree with, late night TV. And like I said, I go all the way back to Steve Allen. I remember him. And then Johnny Carson and let's see, these people were basically entertaining us at late night, having fun, being humorous, being hilarious, making fun,
Right.
and enjoying it, and never always, diving into politics.
Right.
And they were non-discriminatory too. I must say that. Okay. But along comes Mr. Kimmel, and Mr. Kimmel, espouses all these controversial left-wing views on his
Right.
show. And of course, he seems to think that it's okay. But I can tell
Well,
you this, I
because
watched
it-
him a few times and he's not funny to me at all.
He's not funny at all. He's not funny at
Mhm.
all. Plus, he was using, ABC is such a democratic product at this point
Mhm.
that I'm sure they left the President Trump jokes alone. But if they
Mhm.
weren't and they were to the right side, I don't think he would be getting away with as much as he is. The problem with him is that he's going into markets that are Republican, and those are the ones that are
Mhm.
just going, see ya. And
That's
that's
right.
yeah. And it's all about money. Excuse
Mhm.
me. It's all
Mhm.
about money. If you
Mhm.
aren't making them money, you're off. And they couldn't get
Yeah.
sponsored stuff for him on a local level. So it wasn't going to go on.
Well, that's like Colbert too. They were
Mhm.
bleeding dollars, trying to keep him on the air. And he too was another one who just was extremely to the left. And of course, as long as they were vilifying Trump and vilifying Republicans and conservatives, he thought that he was on safe territory. But as you said, with these corporations, it's the bottom line.
It is.
Okay. It's all about the bottom line. It's
So
about
everybody can
the
scream
dollar.
First Amendment, First Amendment.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you this. If you're a television show and
Mhm.
you keep it kind of level
Right.
and you're not making any money, but yet they
Mhm.
don't know what they're going to replace you with, then if you
Mhm.
just keep it clean all the way through and funny, they'll leave you alone. But when you
Right.
start pulling this stuff, that's when the
Mhm.
conservative stations are going bye-bye. We're not
Yeah, well,
doing it.
Cheryl, we highly respect your opinion on this topic because we know that you had years of experience of working in the TV markets, and I have every confidence that you know how it works.
Pretty
Okay,
much.
and yeah,
Yeah, been there.
and that's good. But what I'd like to do right now is, Mr. 411, if we could get a clip of Mr. Kimmel, and I'm just using that Mr. very lightly, but Jimmy Kimmel, what he actually said, because a lot of people may not know what he said. So if I have a clip somewhere, Mr. 411, I think we do in our treasure trove that we could
over the
pull up,
weekend
and
with
here he
the
is.
MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from.
Here's everything you need to know about the off-key monologue that got Jimmy Kimmel's show pulled indefinitely. The controversy began during Monday's show when the late-night comic started off by claiming that MAGA was using Charlie Kirk's assassination to score political points. But Kimmel didn't stop there. He went on to call out President Trump, who was scheduled to deliver a speech at Kirk's memorial service on Monday, for what he deemed to be an insufficient reaction to the murder.
In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition. Construction.
Okay, Mr. 411, let's cut it right there. Now, here's what I have to say about how Jimmy Kimmel wrapped that up. He took a clip of President Trump answering a question that was asked to him by the, as I call them, the paparazzi, and he dovetailed that in to his try to dovetail it into his message to make a joke out of it. Okay, had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. Jimmy Kimmel did that. He edited that in.
Well,
okay.
Well, let me just say this, Tyrone, if you will. I think what President Trump was probably saying and why he changed the subject is it's none of that reporter's business how he feels. This guy, Charlie, was a friend of all of them, and it was so shocking for everybody that it's none of the reporter's business,
Well, I do get that, sure. I know what you're saying, but I'm also saying that was edited for Jimmy Kimmel's purposes, okay, to try to make Donald Trump look like, oh, okay, you're grieving so much, but yet and still you're talking about building a ballroom. See, he was trying to, in essence, demean the president. And also to say, oh yeah, you're supposed to be, grieving, but you're worried about a ballroom. Oh, construction, and that was edited. In my opinion, that's what he did. And not to mention the fact that Jimmy Kimmel even said something to the effect of, that's what a 4-year-old does when he grieves his dead goldfish. He made some other comment like that. Now, granted, Jimmy has a long history of doing things that are very
obnoxious,
despicable and obnoxious, whatever term you could find that could say that this man is a horrible guy. I have a video too of him, and I hope that a lot of people out there who haven't seen it, they need to see this because of the fact that Jimmy Kimmel talks a lot of trash about people on the right. And how, we discriminate against people of color, whatever that means, because we all are people of color. And I think we need to get away from dividing ourselves into black, white, red, brown, all this kind of stuff, because we all Americans and we all are people of color. Okay, all this. Okay, but still, there are certain things that do happen that people get offended by, particularly if it's for the reason that they intend to ridicule or demean another race. Now, let me just see if Mr. 411 has a clip for me about Mr. Jimmy Kimmel. Here we go.
Sometime at night, Karl Malone look up in sky and say, what the hell going on up there? Do UFO live on other planet, phoning home like E.T.? Karl Malone read on TV about white people getting deducted by aliens, sticking all kind of hell up their butt. And that's a damn thing. Now, Karl Malone never seen no flying saucer himself, but if he do, that's going to be a spooky time. That's why Karl Malone say government got to step up and give 102% to keeping them little green man off this here earth. Because the day them dudes stick something up Karl Malone butt, that ain't gonna be no good time for nobody, especially Karl Malone butt. Listen up, E.T.
Okay, thank you, Mr. 411.
Nanu, nanu. Until next
thank
time.
you, Mr. 411. Now, who was that guy?
It was Kimmel.
That was Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
And I hope the viewers out there, I hope you understand just who, if you are defending this man,
Right.
That's what you are defending. Okay, now you can get all upset and all, twisted into a pretzel and all out of joint trying to say, oh, Jimmy Kimmel's, his First Amendment rights were violated. Now, are you going to say that was his First Amendment right too, to do that blackface and make fun of black athletes and using language that was very, low level, uneducated
Yeah.
in composition and the way he delivered it? That's Jimmy Kimmel. That's the real Jimmy Kimmel.
Well,
So
just
take it
trying
for
so
what
hard
it's
to make
worth.
money.
Yeah, take it
Yeah.
for what it's worth. But that's the real Jimmy Kimmel right there. Okay? So be not deceived. He's not, for those on the left, particularly people of color who want to support him, but they can't support Charlie Kirk, who was a warrior and a defender of the First Amendment.
Yes.
But they can support this guy and
I've
say
never
that
seen. I've never seen that.
FCC.
I've never seen that clip.
I know. A lot of people haven't seen it, but guess what? You saw it here first if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And for those people who want to say that President Trump pulled him off the air, oh, how terrible. Oh, that's bad. That's awful. President Trump had nothing to do with it.
Mm-mm.
The FCC had nothing to do with it.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you right at this very end of this conversation. Let's see. You mentioned Sinclair and Nexstar, who are these owners of these affiliates of ABC.
Yep.
They, in conjunction with their owner, Disney, they
That's not
made
their own.
that decision.
I'm going to correct you on that. Their
What?
owner, Nexstar and Sinclair, are their own companies.
Okay.
So what they do is they run ABC programming, but that's not who they report to. And I don't mean to correct you like this.
No,
but
I appreciate you correcting me because I mean
yeah,
I don't
that's not
always get it right, but I mean
ABC
99% of the time I do. But anyway.
ABC owns, and NBC and CBS, they actually own certain stations in bigger markets.
Okay.
And like Detroit and Chicago and all your top 10 markets, they actually
All right.
physically own a station there. But the
Okay.
affiliates are owned by separate companies. They happen to run ABC or NBC or CBS programming.
Okay, I got you on that. Thank you for taking me to school on that because
Okay.
you are by far the subject matter expert when it comes to that. Now,
Thank you.
but Disney somehow owns ABC, I think. Am I right about that?
Cap Cities, who used to be, I don't even know if they're in existence anymore. They were the ones who came in and bought a lot of they bought ABC. And
Okay.
and then from there, I forget who else actually bought them from there. But
Mhm.
they have, they've got a big boss too to report to. So
Okay.
besides just Disney. But yeah, you've got company over company that own these things, and you've got boards that you have to report to, and you got to make money. And Jimmy Kimmel and what's his name on CBS? In this awful, but
No,
on
not awful. That's okay.
we just
It's
said his
perfectly
name
okay.
though. Just
Are you
said
talking
his
about
name.
Colbert?
Yeah,
Colbert? Okay.
they're
Yeah.
costing these networks money, and they're
Yeah.
out. And see, when they cost the networks money, they can't get the sponsors, but neither
Mhm.
can your stations on a regional and local level. They're not getting the money either because people don't
Okay.
want the show.
Okay.
I was a buyer at a couple different agencies before I got into the actual sales side and then the
Uh-huh.
camera side. But
Okay.
got to make the money.
Got to
Otherwise,
make the money.
you got to.
That's it. The bottom line is where it's at. Mr. 411, can you shift that graph over? I mean, not graph, that pic over just a bit where we could see it a little better. But here was a statement from Disney, and I can try and read it. I can't see it. Can you see it, Cheryl? Okay,
I
there
can.
it is.
You
You
got it?
can't?
No, I
Can
can
you
see it.
see it? Okay,
Yeah.
can you read it?
Disney said in a statement Monday it made the decision to suspend production of Jimmy Kimmel Live following comments that were ill-timed and thus insensitive. Those comments came during Kimmel's monologue last Monday in reference to Tyler Robinson, who was charged with fatally shooting Kirk on September 10th.
Okay, there we have it. It wasn't the FCC. It wasn't President Trump. It wasn't the people on the left. It's those people who are concerned about their bottom line.
That's
Am I
true.
right about that?
Yep.
Okay. So
So
you heard it here tonight, folks.
some reason
Okay.
Disney caved and put him back on the air. So I don't know if there was a lawsuit from Kimmel. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. I don't know that we'll ever know. But
Well, then again, too, someone said to me today that they think that they were trying to satisfy both sides, like trying to say, okay, well, he was wrong, so we're going to yank him for a little bit. But for those of you who are protesting and boycotting, we're going to make you feel a little better right now, just kind of stroke your feelings somewhat and allow him to come back on. So now we punished him, and now, we remove the punishment and he's reinstated. So now is everybody happy? And I
probably,
think
but I don't.
that was
I don't think.
their
I don't think his
motivation.
show. I don't think his show is long for the world.
Mhm.
I don't. I don't think his show is long for the world.
Okay, well,
My opinion.
coming from you, I have to believe that because you know the business better than anybody that I know.
Right.
And so, in retrospect, here, let's just say that Charlie Kirk was. I mean, he was a man after my own heart. He was a freedom warrior. He was a fierce defender of the First Amendment. People could say what they want about him, but they lied on him in many, many, many ways, saying that he was prejudiced, he was a white nationalist, he was this. The man was what? He was number one, he was a Christian. Number two, he was a husband.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great father. And he was a man with a great work ethic. And he also loved his country. He loved America. And he loved all the people in America. All he wanted them to do was have the opportunity to exercise their First Amendment rights and do so peacefully.
Right, because
Yep.
not everybody agreed with him who came up to his microphones at events. So,
Right.
and then he just told his side of it. I don't think he
Mhm.
really tried to convince them at times to
No.
come on over. That's not what it
Yeah.
was. It was like, well,
Mhm.
let me show you what I think. And yeah, a lot of times they proved him wrong. So,
Well, that, like he said, well, we can't converse and we can't have dialogue. That's where violence can come in. But if we could talk to each other civilly, agree to disagree, but in some cases, maybe he could convince them that he's right. Or maybe in some instances, they might convince him why they take the position that they have or why they've taken that position.
and
But
it might not even be convincing. It might be more you get to see the other side from somebody else,
okay, well, that
and
might be
you
true.
might not even think of it.
Yeah.
Never even thought of that.
Yeah,
So,
but there's always a thread of truth in what everybody says, but some people don't want to tell the truth, or they know the truth, but they
mhm,
try to evade the truth
that's true.
because they want to identify with the other side,
Uh-huh.
of an issue. Okay, well, I think we pretty much wrapped up that point, and in review, we did talk about the First Amendment and this Jimmy Kimmel incident. And I think we covered pretty much in detail. Like I said earlier too, I want to apologize for the lateness of the show, but in this business, sometimes there are technical glitches that we can't overcome. But we want you to subscribe to the 411 Network. We want you to subscribe to our show. And I'm so glad to have Cheryl on with me tonight because she's a brilliant person. She's a great spokesperson,
Wow.
and
I'll come on more often then.
and she knows the business, and particularly this business of broadcasting and communicating,
Mhm.
through media platforms. What I like to do now is I like to turn my attention and your attention out there too. There's a big mayoral race coming up in New York. If you haven't heard about it, then you're not living in America. But
That's true.
there's a big race that's coming up that's going to have huge implications for our country. New
Yes.
York City, ladies and gentlemen, the Big Apple, you know, the city that never sleeps, okay,
Right. Yeah.
is they're looking to elect a new mayor in about what, less than 6 weeks from now,
Yeah.
on
Something like that.
November the 4th. Yeah, something like that. And they have, I think there are 4 candidates in the race right now.
There are,
And
yes, there are.
yeah, 4 candidates. And there's one who is a declared, he says Democratic, but he is a socialist.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, and he has all kinds of plans, I understand, for the city. What do you have to say about it, Cheryl?
I have a lot to say, but I'm just going to do a little housekeeping here. Tyrone, if you could just move your microphone a little because it's really doing a lot of crackling. So,
Okay.
what I did is I have taken a look at every single item on his platform, and it is
Okay.
beyond scary, beyond. So, I'm
Mhm.
going to read a couple things that I've gotten out and printed out so we could actually take a look at them. But he has got, let me go through what his platform, this is the topics of it, and then we'll go back into them.
Okay.
He's got housing, and we all heard
Mhm.
about this. He's going to freeze the rents, building affordable housing, and cracking down on bad landlords.
Mhm.
He's also going to be supporting homeowners and all of this stuff that you hear lately about, your house being stolen. And he's going to be working with homeowners on deed theft, as it's called. Next issue is going to be safety. And
Mhm.
this one is really remarkable. This one just blew my mind. So instead of police, we're going to have the Department of Community Safety. And the Department of Community Safety, I don't mean to laugh, but it really is kind of
Mhm.
funny to look at it. Let me just grab it here. But instead of the police, they're going to have this Department of Community Safety basically predict and try to
Mhm.
stop all of the bad and the violence and all of this. And I just thought,
Mhm.
well, here's just la la land. So I don't agree with what he's saying, but that's okay.
Mhm.
I'll find all that in a second. But the next one is affordability. He's going to have the city-owned grocery stores. He's going to create a network of city-owned grocery stores focused on keeping prices low, and they will not be making a profit. They will not have to pay rent or property taxes. So that's why he figures they could just lower their rates because they're not paying rent or anything.
Mhm.
He's also under affordability going to have a fast and a fare free, or I should say a free fare bus ride. He wants to be fighting the corporates on,
Mhm.
the ones making money and doing all that.
Mhm.
His next item would be early childhood education, and there's going to be a no cost child care and
Mhm.
a thing that they call baby baskets for newborns. And
Right.
apparently, here New York has got about 125,000 babies that are born there, and
Uh-huh.
a lot of families that they're born into can't afford everything that you need for a baby. So the baby baskets are going to be delivered to each new parent, and it'll include diapers and everything that you need for a baby. But then it also have a resource guide in it on information for the parents. And if you've got postpartum depression or you just need tips on what to do with this brand new baby,
Mhm.
they actually have that. And they've also got critical sources. Let me stop right there again.
Mhm.
They feel that this is a good way of spending around $20 million. And they're
Mhm.
also getting involved with the schools. But on this baby basket, on the resource guide, one of the things that you can do is they will have all the phone numbers of nurses and what have you to call if you're having trouble. Um, Paying for our agenda. See, everything that I read today, I was thinking, how are you ever going to pay for this? Where's the money coming from? Well, he is going to be taxing corporations very high. And then and the 1%, which I have not looked into yet. I didn't understand that. So if you do, fine, explain it. But I don't know what he means by that. But it's the corporation. So if he feels that the grocery stores not paying rent or taxes and then going after these corporations is going to help, he's wrong, because you're going to find that especially the corporations are going to be hightailing it out of there. And I think he's going to be great for the southern states.
I get you.
They're all going to be
Yeah, there's going to be a mass exodus. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, yeah, it's going to be a mass exodus, because I'm understanding too
It is.
that he wants to tamper with the justice system as well, wherein he wants to let people out of jail. Okay. And he wants to release them inmates out of prison and put them back on the streets, because he wants to create this social justice reform and implement it, and he wants to legalize prostitution.
Well, he does, and all that comes under Department of Community Safety.
Yeah,
so you're basically having people like saying no, you shouldn't be doing that, and this is why. So it's nonsense, and the police will come in when this department fails.
Well, I was trying to get another guest on tonight who is a cousin of mine who lives in Manhattan, and she is a native New Yorker, and she's been there all of her life. I would say the better part of 60, 70 years. And she also has the opportunity to vote in this election. And she has an opinion about all these candidates. One being the former governor of New York, Mr. Andrew Cuomo, the current mayor, who is the incumbent in this race, Eric Adams. Then there's Mr. Curtis Sliwa, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, Sliwa, the founder of the Guardian Angels. And then, of course.
And see, I remember him as a kid growing up in New Jersey. I remember him as a kid doing so many wonderful things.
He did. He's a native born New Yorker, and he loves the city. He's been a little controversial with some people, but that's their opinion of him. Everybody has an opinion of another person, be they a politician or just an average citizen. But this man loved the city. He put his life on the line to go out there and protect people in subways and on the streets. I think he even took a few bullets in the past. Okay. Now let's take a look at Mr. Mamdani. I think we have a clip on him, and I'll let people listen to him in his own words. Mr. 411, do we have anything on Mr. Mamdani? I think that's how I pronounce his name, Mamdani, the Democrat Socialist.
I'm Matt Gelka in Washington, D.C., where New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani, a Democratic Socialist, came to the nation's capital to try to sway skeptical members of his party. New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani hoped to win over skeptical Democrats as he met with party members in Washington, D.C. Mamdani's brand of democratic socialism has divided the party, with prominent members holding off endorsements while some have distanced themselves entirely. Both House and Senate Democratic leaders Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, both from New York, have yet to endorse.
Anybody that's staying out at this point instead of endorsing this incredible dynamic leader is missing an opportunity.
Mamdani was invited by Democratic progressive star Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. As he's elevated his profile, his platform has come under fire, with socialist ideas including free public services and city-run grocery stores, as his campaign has focused on making New York more affordable for residents. Past comments also include the anti-Israel phrase, globalize the intifada, something he reportedly will distance himself from because of backlash. Maybe surprisingly, Democrats who left the meeting with Mamdani said he has more in common with Donald Trump than you might think.
Donald Trump and he both get out and they talk to people and they listen to people and they understand how people feel. Is the party moving more in a socialist direction? Is a question by the media to try to stigmatize the Democratic Party.
Trump has talked down Mamdani's candidacy every time he's been asked.
He's a communist. I don't think our country is ready for a communist, but we're going to see.
Mr. Mamdani offers slick slogans, but no real solutions.
And the president also said former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo still has a decent shot to win the mayoral race. Cuomo lost the Democratic primary, but is staying in the race as an independent. Incumbent Mayor Eric Adams, who won as a Democrat, is also seeking re-election as an independent. Both Schumer and Jeffries said they plan on meeting with Mamdani in New York as they hold off official support for now. Meetings in D.C. were not on the schedule. Reporting in Washington,
Okay, thank you.
I'm Matt Gelka.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. 411, for that. And we can take him down, please. Let's take Mr. Mamdani's picture out of the frame. Can we get him out of the frame?
I've got a couple more things if you don't.
Okay, yeah, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
If we have the time.
We do. Carry on.
Okay. One of New York's biggest problems is they're homeless. It's like depression. So he's going to go in to build, free housing, low income, housing, and people can afford it. A couple areas in New York. So I went and explored who they were. And one of them is up on which is really putting you up there into the Bronx. And there is stuff up there already. So I don't know what he's going to be converting a building or if he's going to be, building from ground up. But he wants to build 200,000 new units over the next 10 years. And I thought, well, whoopee. They're going to do that probably anyways. He wants to build. Oh, let me tell you this too. All of his building or converting or whatever you're going to do with it will be on the fast track. It will bump out anything else that the private people are trying to do. But one of the is at affordable units at West 175 175 affordable units above the new state of the art Inwood Library. Well, there's already 174 there.
Okay.
People are living there. So I don't know if that's what he's talking about or he's going to build more on top of this library. And then
sound like promises to me.
Well, let me tell you about this one. This is 500 affordable units on the site of a long vacant Greenpoint Hospital. And he's going to get it put through. And the funny part of this is Greenpoint Hospital was originally built in 1915 and it closed in 1982. And Ed Koch in 75, when he was in the House of Representatives, tried to do something with it. It didn't go through. The city couldn't get it together to make it happen. And then in the 1990s, some hospital auxiliary buildings were redeveloped as affordable housing, but that didn't happen either. 2012, the Department of Housing hired a private company to start the project again. And the plans were well underway until one of the private company's executives on bribing city officials. So the plans were halted one more time. And then 2015, Mayor de Blasio tried to work on it. 2017, they've gone back on it. They kept saying that, they're going to start. And people up there are still waiting for the bulldozers to arrive. And then, now we're into 2025. And this guy's coming in saying we're going to build 500 affordable units in this long vacant Greenpoint Hospital. So
okay.
There's a lot of housing. I also found 6 other areas just off the top of your head that that were also affordable housing. So there's a lot out there. So if he's going to take the credit for affordable housing that's already going on, I don't think that's too fair. But that's my only point.
Okay, well, that was very informative. But of course, we know that these are promises. There's only one guy I know who made promises, and his promises are being kept, and that's Donald J. Trump.
Yep.
They're still trying to build that railroad, that fast link railroad in California with that $1 billion boondoggle hadn't happened yet. Democrats are very good at wasting tax money. And unfortunately, and I got to mention this, and I don't live in New York, okay? But I'm concerned about the citizenry of New York City. It's our commerce capital of the world, of the nation. And if they're going to allow this guy to come in as their mayor on all these, pie in the sky promises, they might find themselves eating cake. Okay, let them eat cake, because how is he going to pay for it? Particularly, as you said, when corporate businesses are hightailing it out of there. Okay, and I won't be surprised if Wall Street just packs up and leave. Okay,
That's what I'm waiting for.
okay,
I just said that the other day to my
yeah,
husband. I'm waiting for Wall Street to pack
yeah,
up
that's right.
and get down to Texas.
Now, and
They're going to have
yeah,
done.
yeah. In closing, I do want to show this analyst on CNN who is pointing out, if you watch it in this entirety, and we'll let this be our closing moment, he shows an analysis of this race in New York. Now, why I say it has far-reaching implications is because there are people who are not natural-born American citizens who are running for office. We have many already here, well, few are here already, like Ilhan Omar, what's her name, something Talib. And then there's another guy running for the Senate in Minnesota. I can't remember his name, but he's a Somalian. And they mostly have an allegiance to their home country, but they want to get in the U.S. government system so that they can, I guess, and I don't want to be too accusatory, but I think they want to push their ideas and their values on us and disrespect our way of life, disrespect our Constitution, wave their flag over our flag, and these kinds of things. But yet and still, they're reaping the benefits and the joy of living in America. Okay, now Mandami obviously thinks that he's got this thing in the bag, but I would like for you to pay close attention, ladies and gentlemen, and my co-host tonight, to what this analyst from CNN had to say. Okay, Mr. 411, go ahead and run that for me, please.
A brand new poll in the New York Times on the mayor's race in New York City shows Zohran Mamdani way ahead of his closest rival, Andrew Cuomo, in a four-way race. The goal, of course, is to win. That probably makes Mamdani happy. But what about all these other claims that some Mamdani supporters have been making about how he is reshaping the electorate? Let's get right to CNN's chief data analyst, Harry Enton, now with that. So what about that? I mean, we heard Bernie Sanders, we hear others say this guy is different. He's, attracting a whole new range of voters.
False. The primary win may have been historic, but the reason he leads in the general election is not historic at all. He is not remaking the electorate. What are we talking about here? Okay, choice for New York City mayor. Those who are supporting Mamdani, overall he's getting 46%. How about those who didn't vote in 2024? Get this, it's actually a little bit less. It's a little bit lower. He's at 44%. His lead goes from 21 points over his nearest competitor, Andrew Cuomo, to just 17 points. So he's actually doing slightly worse amongst those who did not vote in 2024, those irregular voters. So the idea that Mamdani is remaking the general electorate and bringing in new voters to support him, not supported by the data. The fact check says,
Okay, another claim has been that Mamdani has a message that might be attractive to Trump voters. They talk about things sort of in similar ways.
Yes, exactly right. Mamdani liked to say, hey, during the primary season, I was able to win in Trump neighborhoods. But what about in the general election? Well, get this. 2024 Trump voters' choice for New York City mayor. Look where Mamdani is on the list. He is fourth. And at just 4%, way behind Curtis Lewa, the Republican nominee at 50%, Andrew Cuomo 23%, the incumbent mayor Eric Adams at 21%. Mamdani, simply put, is not winning over Republican voters. He is dead last. He's at just 4% amongst them.
So where does his lead come from then?
Okay, so if he's not bringing in new voters and he's not winning over Republican voters, how is Mamdani winning this? Well, I don't know if you know this, John Berman, but New York City is a very Democratic city, one that Kamala Harris did quite well in. So let's take a look here. Okay, 2024 Harris voters in the New York City mayoral race. The percentage they make up of all 2025 likely voters, it's 62%, the clear vast majority. And get this, the percentage of Mamdani voters who voted for Kamala Harris back in 2024, 86% of his total support comes from Harris voters, and he leads Andrew Cuomo amongst those Harris voters by 64% to 25%. So no, it is not that Mamdani is winning a historic general election win. He simply put a Democrat in a Democratic city, and that is why he is winning. He is not rechanging the electorate. He is not bringing in Republicans over to his side. He simply put is winning over Democrats, which in New York City is enough. If he were to take his message nationally, he might find the electorate nationally to be far more difficult to convince of his message.
Might be a non-traditional candidate, but right now it's a very traditional lead.
Okay. Okay, Mr. 411, do I have a good audio? Cheryl, can you hear me?
I can hear
Okay,
you.
good. Thank you. Okay, I just wanted us to sort of look at that and digest it a little bit. I don't think that Mr. Mamdani has a lock on this, particularly when you bring in the Republican voters and the conservative voters. And I'm hoping also the Jewish population of the city of New York. This man talks about the Antifada, the global Antifada, where he believes in, you know, that it's from the river to the sea, et cetera, et cetera. And if these people vote for this guy and put him in that office, everything that he has said that he now disowns, he will own it once he gets that power. Okay? Yep. Because he's playing the typical politician. I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. And then once I'm in, I'm going to do what I want to do. Okay? Unlike Donald Trump told people what he was going to do to make America great again. And that's what he is striving to do every day. If he can get all these obstacles out of his way, I mean, we'll be off and sailing economically, socially, and in our national defense and so forth.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought that was pretty enlightening that CNN.
I have to do this today.
Yeah, the CNN
really
analyst was
does
good.
bright
Yeah, he was a very good broker on this issue, you know. And I would say to the voters of the city of New York, don't buy what he's selling. Because if you do,
I hope not.
You know, we'll see you in Georgia when you decide to leave New York. Come on to Georgia. You know, we have a great state here. We'll welcome you, or, you know, head on down to Florida, good old sunny Florida. Well, anyway, Cheryl, do you have any closing comments you'd like to make tonight?
I have enjoyed this thoroughly. I think the topics tonight were spot on, and it's things that everybody is interested in. So I will come back anytime you need me. This was a heck of a lot of fun.
Well, I certainly hope that you will. And we want to thank Mr. 411 for hosting us and on the 411 Sports Channel and Network. And I'm looking forward to, you know, working continuously at bringing informative shows to our viewing audience. And we trust that they will continue to subscribe, hit that like button, and also check us out on our next episode. We're going to bring you some interesting topics, and we want you to participate. Don't hesitate to hit that comment button and leave us a comment, you know. And Cheryl, thank you for your contributions, and let's do it again soon.
Let's do it again soon.
Okay, thank you very much, and good night.